And it's time to update what we call the Dave Canales meter, the Dave Canales ranking. It's play on the DEFCON, right? It's threat level or concern level. Dave Canales is our threat level or our concern level with the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales. And for those of you that don't recall, we choose this song even though it doesn't maybe fit the vibe because this is what Dave Canales sang for his rookie performance during training camp to the team in the team meeting room. I'm setting it to Dave Canales 3. It had gotten, by the way, I feel like I have to explain this every week because I know I got confused before we turned it into something. Dave Canales 1, like DEFCON 1, is the highest threat level. Dave Canales 5 is the lowest threat level, which feels reverse when you say it out loud, but that's the way it actually is, so we go with the way it should be. We're setting it at 3. There is a threat, but it's dropped significantly from a couple weeks ago when it was Dave Canales 1, when we were all hands on deck after week 2, as concerned as you could be for a coach, as concerned as you could be for a team. He's bounced back nicely. I don't put him all the way at no threat. I'm putting him all the way at no concern, and I'll explain why in a second. So first, let's talk about where he's grown. I think his in-game coaching has grown exponentially in the first month. I mean, we call him a toddler as a play caller, an infant as a head coach. In 4 weeks, I think his in-game coaching has grown a ton. I like his play calling as an improvement. Not every play call do I agree with. I think he's had some clunkers, but from game 1 to game 4, massive improvement. Even from how he worked Bryce Young into the game versus how he works Andy Dalton into the game. Different play calls, different players, different play calls. I liked his feel for when to take chances. I loved going for it on 4th down on the goal line on the opening drive. It didn't work out, so 20/20 hindsight would say, hey, don't do that. I would say, hey, call a different play. But I liked the idea to go for it.
Just don't do it from shotgun. If you're going to run the ball, go from under center.
Don't do it from shotgun.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it from shotgun, maybe something to the edges, maybe a throw, maybe a movement. I mean, there's a bunch of, it didn't work, so I'm not here saying he was 100% correct because that would be ridiculous.
I love the aggression and decision.
But the feel for when to take chances, the not terrified nature that some new head coaches get, which is we have a chance to get points. We have a chance to get points. Kicker, Eddie Pinheiro, go out there. It wasn't that. I love the fake punt call. Again, didn't work.
Yeah, you just got to catch the ball.
Got to catch the ball, or you got to, as a coach, have someone else in that role. Or I liked the feel for when to take chances. You can't be the guy that's everybody knows you're going to get 2 special teams trick plays a game because then it becomes too much. But in that game, I felt like it made sense. Probably a little overmatched talent-wise by the Bengals. You thought you had to make up the difference, so you were being a little bit more risky. I like that. So in game, I like his development a lot. That's why we've lowered it from Dave Canales 1. It's not just about the final score. It's about the look of it. It's not just, hey, they won a game and they were in another. Let's tamper it down. It's more complicated than that. The reason why I'm not going all the way down to no concern is what was this season all about? At the beginning of the year, what was this season all about? The development of Bryce Young. Now, I'm not going to blame him, meaning blame Canales, if Bryce Young just didn't have it. But part of, I'm sure, the reason why he was brought in is because he was being tasked with fixing, revitalizing, rehabilitating, refurbishing, whatever you want to call it, Bryce Young. We still don't have a vision for quarterback. Dave Canales was brought in with the reputation as being the quarterback saver. He was like the bar rescue guy, only for quarterbacks. Right? I went into Geno Smith, and when I got there, their bartenders were pouring too much into the. If anyone's watched Bar Rescue, you know what's going on, right? The food was no good. The service was bad. The seats and the booths didn't make any sense. So we redid everything. And now look at Geno Smith. He's throwing for 1 billion yards on Monday Night Football. Then I went down to Tampa and Baker Mayfield, and he came in with all kinds of negative reputation. By the time I left, he was worth $100 million. And now I went to Bryce Young, and I'm going like, all right, that's your task. That's your goal. 4 games in, there's more confusion at quarterback than there was, meaning the future at quarterback. Beyond this season at quarterback, there's more confusion than there was at the beginning. So, yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. I'm a little concerned that it does appear as if Dave Canales' quarterback whispering reputation only applies to guys who are 29 and older. Because part of being the decision maker on a team, part of being the guy responsible for players' development is developing the quarterback of the future. So again, if you want to say it's all Bryce, fine. There's no way you know that for a fact. If you want to say it's all Bryce, fine. I'm still concerned that we haven't seen Dave Canales do it. I'm still concerned that he all offseason championed a quarterback and then 2 games in completely bailed on him. It's because then if you're saying it's all Bryce, I'm saying why didn't Dave Canales recognize that? If it was that obvious that a guy wasn't willing to play, he still started him to open the season, still gave him all the 1 reps all training camp. So I look at Dave Canales when we're talking Def Canales meter and say he's playing the part of a head coach better. He's leading the team on game day better. I love the fact that they responded to adversity. That was one of my concerns for Dave Canales coming into the year because the guy is like the high optimism, high energy. Everybody's happy. Everybody's loving the day. Everybody's ready to play football. That's his MO. So I was worried, hey, like, does that still play when things are going bad? Things went really bad. He helped turn it around. I like that.
I feel great about playing football right now.
But we still don't know the vision for quarterback. We still don't know the vision for quarterback. It's kind of like you brought someone in to do a job and he's doing a different job, but he's kind of doing it well. I always use the example of Brian Billick when he took over head coach of the Ravens. He was the offensive coordinator in Minnesota. Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Randall Cunningham, just unbelievable, explosive offense. He goes and he becomes the head coach of the Ravens, and they win with almost no offense and an elite defense.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, well, that's not why we brought you here, but I like what you did. Dave Canales came in as the quarterback whisperer. He was the quarterback rehab guy. He's the guy that takes the quarterback that didn't work under other coaches and makes him work. And then he showed up and was like, well, the first thing we have to do is I'm going to get rid of the quarterback and I'm not going to rehab him. I'm just going to go to the veteran and then we're going to make, Xavier Legette look better and we're going to make Deontay Johnson look better. And I'm going like, well, okay. I don't dislike that. That's just that wasn't the assignment you were brought here for, right? It's like, okay, you turned Ray Lewis into a Hall of Famer. Awesome, Brian Billick. You won a Super Bowl, but where's Randy Moss? You know what I mean? You did it with Trent Dilfer. So it's I'm still concerned about the thing that he was asked to do because, and as Brian Billick learned, eventually you need an offense, right? Because you can only trade off of a Super Bowl led by one of the most dominant defenses in the history of the game for so long until eventually you're in the booth, which you don't hope for Dave Canales. When I say in the booth, I mean broadcast, which is, again, what you hope for doesn't happen to Dave Canales.
I mean, Canales has turned that culture of that team around, which I think is a major part of what he's been doing. 100% has turned the culture of that team around. Compared to what it was last year?
I just don't know if I attribute all of that to Dave Canales.
I
I think a lot of it is Dan Morgan and who they chose to bring in.
Well,
I think a lot.
It's the two of them together, but I mean, Dan Morgan ain't in the locker room.
No, I'm impressed with Dave Canales. I'm not overweighing the question marks with the good nearly yet. We are a month into the first season, and the win on week 3 is still pretty fresh. I want to see what this team looks like when the win in week 3 is 7 weeks in the background.